It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another comic book review for The Walking Dead. This is going to be my review for issue 186, which was called The Powder Keg. Now, this issue was a pretty big one. It started off slow, but the ending of this issue was the most unexpected thing, for me at least, for quite a long time. So I'll just go through some of the points that I have written down here, but overall, I really liked this issue, but I feel like how slow it was at the beginning definitely made the issue suffer in terms of how interesting it was and how much reread value it has and how much it basically adds to the story. So because it was so slow at the beginning, I feel like it takes away from how insane and epic it turned out to be at the end. But starting off with Hilltop, we have a scene with Carl and Sophia and the kid that's there. And that was just a very quick thing. Of course, what they're doing is building this, not relationship necessarily at the moment, but this bond between Sophia and Carl and letting us see that there's something going on between them. And, you know, in the long run, maybe they'll get together somehow. What was really interesting is that this scene reminded me a lot of the scene that we recently had in the show, where we had Henry, who's taking on Carl's comic arc, at Hilltop. And, you know, there was Enid there, and, you know, there was this thing going on between them. At least Henry thought so. And also he met these new kids at Hilltop. This in the comics really reminded me of that scene from the show, which is very interesting. Next, we have the scene with Eugene and Stephanie and the wig and everything. That was all comical, and I don't see how that added any value to the story. Next, we get into the conversation that Rick has with Michonne. Of course, at the end of last issue, we had Dwight talking to Rick saying that we need to take this over and this place needs to be controlled by us, not Pamela, because she's not treating the people right and everything. So that whole conversation led to Rick really thinking about, you know, what Dwight said. And then in this issue, we have this conversation between Rick and Michonne about that and about whether that's the right thing to do, to fight, and what is the right decision. And, you know, we have Rick admitting that the people do need help. The people need a different type of leader, a different type of leadership in a way. But he didn't necessarily agree that it needs to be a fight. I love that Michonne brings this up, and I think this is very powerful. Michonne says that the people need your mind more than they need your gun, or referring to your power in a way. So I thought that was very powerful, and I really loved what she said. Michonne really pissed me off at the end of the issue, but, you know, I really loved what she says here. Then we have Elodie and her friends. What's brought up here is very interesting. Their friends talk about how Elodie is on their side. And, you know, it seems like there's this repeated theme about being on a side, even though it seems like these two communities are in good terms. There seems to be sides very clearly. And I really love that, you know, Elodie is made aware of that. And, you know, she begins thinking about whether it is true or not. So I really like that. Then we have Magna at Alexandria talking to the other militia members about, you know, being alert, being on tight security all the time because of the threat that might be out there. They don't know what might be coming. Of course, the number of guards that they saw come in from Commonwealth really put them on alert. And I really love that they're making this realistic by having them acknowledge the fact that anyone in that community should now be concerned. Because even though everything seems fine, if things go bad, they have way more people, way more prepared soldiers, and they have more resources, and they can just take them down if they want to. Then we have the part where Pamela is shooting the walkers. It's like hunting in a way, but she's doing it for show. And, you know, all of that was just there, in my opinion, to show that not only is it all a show in this community and highlighting that, but also highlighting the fact that, you know, she's just living a different type of life. And, you know, she's not really all about what she seems to be about. You know what I mean? She seems to enjoy having the power. And I really love that they emphasized that and highlighted that. I think that it could have been trimmed a little bit. Also, the discussion Mercer had with not only Dwight but also Rick after the fact definitely put things into perspective for both Rick and, the audience about what is really going on in this community. So I really like that. Then we have this discussion between Michonne, Dwight, and Rick about, what should they do? What is the right thing to do? Is it the right thing to just fight, take the community over, and save the people? Or is it better to work together? And I love that Rick says that it's better to work together. The right thing is to work together. And that there shouldn't be a fight. I love that side of Rick. It's a more conscious Rick that I really love. And then we get to a point that really pissed me off. Michonne freaking told Pamela and everyone about what they're doing, about what they're talking about. And Pamela and the soldier were overhearing everything. I understand where Michonne is coming from, but this was a stupid decision. I mean, this decision was crucial. And it was the wrong decision in every way that you look at it. But we have the guards and Pamela there. Pamela says that, yeah, they can work together. They can talk about this. Rick seems reasonable. They can talk to Rick, but Dwight has got to go. He's got to get arrested. He's got to get out of there. And, it's just a consequence, the repercussions of Michonne's decision, in my opinion. And I definitely think what happens next is on Michonne. It's Michonne's responsibility. She let it get to this point. And, I just think she handled it wrong in every way that you look at it. But Dwight pulls out the gun, points it at Pamela's head. Now, yeah, a part of the blame goes to Dwight as well for doing that. Of course, that's true. But it wouldn't have got to that point if Michonne didn't do what she did. I think Rick could have controlled Dwight. But, like Rick says later on, Michonne pushed Rick to a corner. But what happens next is just insane. It's shocking. I mean, it shocked the hell out of me. We have Dwight just pointing the gun at Pamela and even comparing Pamela to Negan, which could be true, but, it remains to be seen whether that is true or not, whether Pamela is like Negan or not. But Pamela is definitely less brutal than Negan, for sure. But we have this panel where we have Dwight standing there, and then boom, someone shoots him right in the head. Execution style, right there on the spot. Right away, I was thinking it's Pamela or one of the soldiers. And then I flipped the page. Boom, it's Rick. Rick shot Dwight. He killed Dwight. That's just insane. I mean, that's a big twist I did not see coming. But, Rick kills Dwight. And Pamela says that she'll remember what Rick did, and they just leave. That's insane. Rick killed Dwight. That's just wow. I mean, no words to describe how shocked I was. But we have this huge fight between Rick and Michonne, and there's just this tension between them. Michonne thinks she did the right thing, but Rick thinks that Michonne pushed him to a corner and forced him to execute Dwight, or forced him to be in a spot where he has to execute Dwight, which I sort of agree with. I mean, I don't agree that he should have just killed Dwight, but I don't think that you could control Dwight at that point. You might have been able to control Dwight before that situation came up, but after the fact, when he pulled up the gun, there was no way to control Dwight at that point. The only way to do it would have been to knock him out, maybe. Maybe that would have been the other reasonable decision, to just knock him out. But then what comes after? What are they going to do to him? Of course, they're going to take him away, but, what's going to happen? So, I feel like Dwight's fate was doomed the moment the guards stepped in, and Pamela, of course. But, that's just crazy to think about what Rick did in this issue. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussion about whose fault this is, Michonne or Rick. I think it's partially Dwight's fault for pulling up the gun. It's partially Rick's fault for killing him and not just knocking him out. But the majority of the fault is on Michonne, I think. That's just the way I see it. But the issue ends, but he says, did I just avoid a war? Referring to what Michonne says. Or did I just join the wrong side of one? That's just powerful. That's epic. That's one of the most epic and insane things that he's said in a while, I would say, in a quite a long time. But that's true. That is true. I agree with him 100%. But that's basically my review. But what I want to know, I want your guys' opinions about this. Whose fault is Dwight being executed? Is it Rick's fault? Is it Michonne's fault? Or is it Dwight's fault himself? I'm leaning more towards this being more Michonne's fault than anyone else. But I definitely want to know everyone's opinions about this. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads. Like and follow the Facebook page of this channel to join our community. And check out the upload schedule to learn more about daily uploads.